Hello, and this is Jonathan McGuinness again for the Questions of Fire podcast on a Wednesday, where we get quite driven people in to discuss what drives them, why do they do what they do, and we have no exception this week. Let me quickly introduce Mans Breimer. Mans, very welcome to the podcast. Delighted to have you here for taking the time out to have a conversation with us.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. It's great to see you again. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. What I'd like to say to the people in the group, what we do is, and we're looking for continuously very, very driven people. Now, I'm just going to give a little bit of a backstory. I lived in Switzerland for quite a while, and I met this man who was interested in running extreme distances. I don't think we met for that reason, but that was one of the conversations that we had. And I had done a couple of marathons in my life. I'd done 2 marathons. I'd done a ski marathon in Oslo. So I felt the idea of somebody wanting to persist for more than 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers in one go or one day just kind of blew my mind. You know, it's kind of a blow your mind moment. And we began a conversation, and eventually even Mans took me out on a little run. I'll go into that later on the podcast and the after effects to my body. But Mans, first of all, welcome. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, and you know, what about you decided, you're obviously a fit, healthy guy now, but what made you decide to go down this path of, we'll call it ultra distance running, Mans?
Well, it's actually a couple of things. If I look back to my life, I mean, as a youth, I was quite sporty. I was quite skinny as well. I wasn't really interested into sports, but I was somehow naturally talented to it, the light athletics, not really long distance running. But then as I grew up, if you can say it like that, I went to study at university or high school in Sweden, and then I moved to Switzerland. Life progresses, and I don't know if you can say, but I came into some kind of bad habits, meeting a lot of Irish people. In bars,
I'll take the blame on that one.
Yeah, maybe enjoying the pints, a couple hours too late in the evenings, and not eating the most healthiest food, and then working as a software developer on a contracting basis here in Switzerland. So a lot of sitting around on your bum. So basically, I gained a lot of weight, and I came into a stage where I felt very sluggish and tired and not really satisfied with myself.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, so it came to a point where, when I started working for UBS in Opficon, another place. It's quite close to a river there, and the team I worked with, the manager, he was quite a cool guy, and he used to take us out. He went running over lunch, and I thought, like, maybe we should take the opportunity to go with these guys. And so I started running this like 5K, 7K, and it was such a pain. But it really felt good. It had a good impact, and I started losing a bit of weight, but still, how should I say it? Still, this bad habit of sitting in the bars and drinking beer and stuff like that was still there. And so then it came to a point as well where I switched jobs again and came to a very nasty place. And I don't know. Then I started to run a bit more. I don't know if it was a bit of an escape of that from that place, or to say it like that, or what I was seeking. But then I had to quit that job, and then I started working over our employer there, Pragmatic at UBS. And this whole running thing stuck with me, and I felt that it's really, Switzerland is such a beautiful place, and being out in the nature it really gave me a life balance, and I still had a bit of an issue with my weight and things like that, and maybe not the most healthy lifestyle. So I started to, these things with podcasts came up as well, and I started listening to that while I was running, and I encountered this guy. You probably heard about him. This guy, Rich Roll.
Oh, I do. Yeah, fantastic.
So he's doing these. When he started, or when I encountered him, he was just starting the whole thing, and so he had written his book. What was it called? Finding Ultra, which I read, and that was really interesting. So I thought, hey, this might be something really slap myself. So I switched my diet totally. So I didn't go vegan as he states, or he is in his book, but I at least went vegetarian. But I cut off all the sugars and white flour, and also stopped drinking and gave up beer as well. And the kilos I lost a lot of weight there, and really felt great.
And would you say that listening to Rich Roll and reading the book were kind of one of the accelerators?
Exactly, it's pushed me into that direction. I don't think I would have gone down this route before, because I wouldn't think about it really. But he showed me the path to go down, and I also. This whole thing then turned into a bit more that I started doing a bit more longer runs as well, and really pushing myself a bit out of the comfort zone. And I think that's a very healthy thing to do, because I'm such a person that if I stay too long in the comfort zone, I just get bored and frustrated. And I see that in other aspects of my life as well, work-wise, etc. I always try to push myself into situations where
you have to do something.
I evolve a bit, yeah. And I felt this with the ultra running is really, it takes away a lot of time, especially if you have a family. You have to somehow balance the whole thing. But it really is a good. The experience that what you get with it to push yourself. Keep on running, even if sometimes it feels so hard that you just want to give up. If you learn how to deal with that, because in running it's a lot about ups and downs. You go down in this some kind of dark place, and if you just convince yourself, no, it's going to get better. It will get better, and then suddenly it starts to feel really great again. And you can apply that.
So you're saying there's a big mental game in this.
It's a lot of mental games. There's a lot of mental training. But you can apply that to, for example, personal life or also work life, like being a project manager. Sometimes you can have situations which are just horrible, but you just have to
absolutely
beat through it, and then it's going to be great again. And you come out of that situation as yourself as a stronger person, and the whole team might be also stronger. So it's just this whole mental training, and I see a lot of parallels there with the ultra running and with the work life. You can also find parallels into private life as well. But that is a big thing, a big lesson, and a big what do you call it, achievement or something that I learned from that. So that really made me continue with ultra running, but also there's other aspects of ultra running that you don't really think about. You think about running as a very unsocial sport. A boring sport, you just go running by yourself, but it's actually a very, very social activity.
Yeah.
Especially when you go for these long runs, because you spend so much time out there, and all this time, if you're running in these ultra distances, you don't run that fast. You run quite in a modest tempo, so you always have to chat and talk. So you will have maybe 5-6 hours to talk to somebody. You have a lot of time together, and it's just amazing what kind of conversations you end up in. So it's really a social thing, and then when you start going to these races, etc., it's a very friendly community as well. So you get to know a lot of interesting characters and cool people.
So that's a curiosity I have, man. So what was the first? Now, it didn't have to be official or unofficial. What was the first what you would consider longer run that you did? Would it have been a marathon? Would it have been more than a marathon? What were the first couple of long runs that would have been the beginning of your ultra tight distances? How did that work out for you?
I mean, in the beginning, even running 10Ks felt like a long run when you just used to run 5Ks. So,
Sure.
but I remember we signed up for our first half marathon, and that was really like, I was really nervous about that. And but we did it at work with colleagues from work, and it was really a fun thing to do. And then, of course, that triggers you into these ideas of like, oh, can I do a marathon? And so then I signed up for the Zurich Marathon. But I never thought about doing much longer runs than that. But it wasn't that combination at that time when I bumped into or discovered Rich Roll. And also I got to know a guy who was doing a bit of this ultra distance running. And he suggested that I should join him for a race in Ticino. And I thought, oh, this is crazy. This is a 54K with like 1,000 height meters. But it's such a beautiful scenery. And I thought like being like, okay, let's do it.
What a lovely way to see Switzerland, huh?
Yeah, and that was really. I don't think I would have gone and done it just by myself like that. I needed that push a bit from somebody I knew as well, and that's something I pay back now. I try to, when I meet people or I have friends who start to do running, I start to suggest them, maybe we should go run into the woods instead of just going along on the tarmac, or maybe we should go up in the mountains. And first they're a bit afraid, but then they come on and do it, and then they really start enjoying it as well.
Yeah, so, I volunteered for that, man. I remember it very well. I was living in Zurich, and he said, "Come on, let's go for a run." And I discovered parts of Uglihof that I never knew existed. Not only that, for the week afterwards, I discovered muscles in below my butt that I didn't know existed either. Because that was kind of my thing, because I hadn't been running that much. But to go out in the wilderness with you was it was fantastic. It was lovely just to be out in the fresh air. And I remember you saying to me at the time, which is kind of what stuck in my head, is you had ran 10 or 15 kilometers before you even met me. Yes. We did about 15 or 20, I don't remember, maybe 15 or whatever. And you say, oh, well, I'm going to run home the same again. It's like, oh, my God. It's like, who is this guy? So that kind of got me intrigued, because you were very casual. We ran at a nice moderate pace, as you said, and the thought for most people of running an additional 15K or whatever is like, that's their run in itself. And for you, it was just like, okay, now I'm going home. It was sort of the casualness of it, and the pace, and maybe the socialness. We also talked quite a bit along on the way, and I know if you find a nice place, that there's no harm in sitting down in a beautiful cabin in the woods and having a nice drink or whatever else. And so it's not necessarily hard race, but it's somehow a bit of life enjoyment.
Exactly. Yeah. So just go out there, don't go too fast, just enjoy it. And then when you start feeling more motivated, then you can do this like interval training, etc. But the important thing is that most of the time you should enjoy it, and you will enjoy it. Yes. Okay. But for me, it's also, I mean, I know not a lot of people, but some people, they go into yoga, meditation, all that stuff. I see running these ultra marathons is also a bit of an act of meditation as well. It's a bit of a soul-seeking activity.
Absolutely.
Especially when you go for these long runs for like 20 hours, stuff like that through the night. It's like, you can sometimes go into very dark places with yourself.
Tell us a little bit about that, man. Like I've ran at night, but like I've done a 10K at night in the mountains in areas where I know in Ireland, so it's kind of home turf. But the idea of sort of, I don't know what distance you're talking about, but running through the night and say, I'm going to run for X amount of hours or X amount of distance. What's going on in your mind? Most people, first of all, probably wouldn't even run at night. But even if you did run at night, everyone has natural fears or concerns, we could say. And then there's the whole, you were saying the mental game. When you said dark places, you gave me the feeling that was a mental indicator, not necessarily the color of the light from the sky, you know?
No, this is all the mental things. So first of all, running these through the night out in the woods and stuff like that. I mean, Switzerland is a very safe country, and also if you're a man, it's you're not that worried as maybe you if you're a woman. Though I know, I mean, here in Switzerland, I don't think it's an issue if you're a woman and run around in the mountains. I would be more scared walking inside the city. No, so it's not about that. It's more like if you imagine if you start running in the morning and you have already ran like, let's say 12 hours, 14 hours, you've done like 60, 70 Ks with 4,000 height meters, and you know you have another 40 K in front of you, another 2,000 height meters.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes it can feel like, and you're very tired, you're very, not thirsty, but you could be hungry. You could be so sick of all the food that you have brought with you, all the gels and stuff like that. You don't know what to eat, but you need nutrition, and you just feel like you want to give up, you want to cry, you want to like ask yourself, why am I doing this? Yeah, I mean, I know people that they sat down and have almost cried, but then for a couple of minutes 5-10 minutes, but then they continued again, and then they were so happy again. So it's all about the ups and downs, and
so in those moments, man, because the key thing I love hearing is what drives people to do something. Now, it's not about what drives you to run, but in those moments when you think, God, damn it, I just want to give up. It's too much effort. I'm not enjoying it. Or maybe there are different whys on different days. I don't know.
Exactly. I think there are probably different whys. The thing is, how do you find those whys? You have to go deep inside yourself and ask yourself, where are those whys? Because you can sit there and wonder, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You have to go inside and think, why am I doing this? Why? So you can go in, okay, I've trained for a couple of years, did this, I took the weekend off, I took maybe the whole week off to go to this place to do this race, or maybe I should have rather stayed at home with my family because there was something going on at home, but no, I was too egoistic. I went to this thing. So like, you should like, like you went there for a purpose, and you did this for a purpose, and you have to like find that why. And that's again how I can like see parallels to the work life, for example. Like I said, if something goes really horrible wrong at the work or something like that, and you feel like, no, I want to throw in my resignation, like, no, but I still applied for this. It's still good. You have to like try to, and this whole mental training, this I don't know if you can call it a meditative act, but it's somehow to go inside yourself and try to find that reason why you continue doing that. And I mean, I know people. I mean, you can also see it maybe in relationships as well. You can have like ups and downs with your wife or girlfriend or a girlfriend, like, and you like. But hey, no, we married. We did this for a person, like for a reason, like, and you know, like not. So I think it's a lot about not to give up. Train yourself not to give up too easy.
Oh yeah, okay.
I know maybe it sounds all strange and weird for all the listeners here, but this is.
I actually think it sounds actually very honest, man. You know what I mean? You know, because we all have thoughts. Everyone. You know, maybe they don't do long distance running, but maybe they're just simply trying to lose a little bit of weight, or they're trying to get on in work, or get on in a relationship, and it's kind of like, hold on, maybe it's simply about not quitting. Because we love to have a purpose, whatever that purpose is, and if we give up on a purpose, we kind of give up on a little piece of ourselves. I feel sometimes.
Yeah, and maybe if the bigger the purpose is, the bigger the ups and downs are, and you have to really.
So on that, like some people think, and I'm going to ask you is, when people do extreme things, people can be addicted to adrenaline or dopamine or anything you do. Many people, not everybody, many people want to go even further. Have you got kind of, and there's the excitement of, okay, I did a parachute jump from 10,000 feet. Can I do one from 12,000 feet? It doesn't matter the thing. How far have you let that maybe take you, and how do you see the future of your relationship with long distance running? And I know that changes because you're a human being, but as we speak now, did you feel that desire for more and bigger, and or do you still? What happened?
No, I mean you do. I mean, if you start doing races and you start signing up for this 50K races, then if you complete those, then you start maybe I can do an 80K race. If you've done that, then you think, oh, there's this 100 kilometer race, and then you start thinking, and it is a 100-mile race, these big ones like UTMB and stuff like that. So it gets into you get a bit of an addicted on these events and these races to sign up to them. I feel somehow I know now when we speak today or in the last couple of months, actually, I felt a bit like I lost that motivation now. I just really enjoy just to run, and I cut down on the amounts of races I've done, and I rather go for training with friends, and then now and then I do these longer things. But it's also, I mean, everything comes and goes in waves.
Sure, absolutely.
I think also it's important that you don't. There's also so much things in life that you want to explore and experience as well. And sometimes you just have to take a break from things. But I mean, running is of course something I will always continue with. But I mean, I have now signed up for a thing that is a bit crazy. It's called a backyard. It's you run these loops. It's like 6.5 kilometers, and you have to complete it within an hour. Yeah. And then the next hour you have the next loop, and it just goes on and on and on until there's only one woman standing. And so this is something that has been it's quite I don't know how new it is, but it's recently new. I'm a couple of years old. But it's gaining a lot of popularity, and there's a big event in the States where this is held by a guy called Lazarus Lake, and this year, quite funny, due to the corona, he couldn't organize this event in the US, so he did like all these satellite events all over the globe. One event in each country, and then it was all live streaming over Facebook and Zoom, etc. It was just so amazing. I mean, it's really connected the whole world. I mean, you had teams from all over countries like Russia, US,
fantastic.
And this whole running community is just so. It just connects everybody, regardless of religion, nation, or anything. Like it's like it's really a cool thing. So
we just got a question.
I signed up for it. I'm a bit nervous because my goal is to be able to run for 24 hours at least. But I know some guys. I mean, the world record is 75 loops, so 75 hours.
Wow!
But yeah, be some. I feel a bit pressure because there's only 50 people who can sign up for this, and I don't want to let the guy who organized this down. So at least I need to do 24 loops.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge. You'll have to let us know when that is on, and we'll keep an eye on you. We got a question from Martin in the audience, and he says, "Do you follow David Goggins? Or are you aware of David?"
I am very much aware of him. He's a very interesting character. So yeah, I like to listen to his stuff when I'm running. So his book, for example, is kind of clearly recommended. I mean, he's an extreme character. He would, what is it like? He runs on broken bones or something like that. I mean, he has a very interesting background as well, and he really forced himself, made himself go through that whole SEAL training and become a SEAL, and now he has having a huge success with his performance podcast and selling his book and everything. So that's a bit of success story there. Sometimes I feel he's a bit too extreme, but yeah, he's a very interesting guy. Yeah.
Excellent.
Clearly recommend his stuff for anybody who's curious.
So for the people who are curious, and they're potentially wanting to get involved in it, it sounds like now there's even socially connected ways of doing it, even with sort of our lockdown status and things like that. Because of the internet, we have these sort of country events, there's a new network called Clubhouse. I'm not sure if you know about it. It's an audio network.
Yeah, I
saw a friend of mine from Japan, where he's originally he's from the UK, and Andrew Shuttleworth is his name, and he was going to run 20K, but everyone could log into the channel while they were running the 20K all over the world at the same time. So if you didn't have a partner to chat with, you could actually chat with Andrew and whoever else was on that room or whatever it's called in Clubhouse. So you made me think of another side to it, because most people think of running as quite a solitary activity, and maybe for the most part it is, but if there's that social element, that's a very attractive feature of it.
It is, yeah. That's a really interesting idea to do it over Clubhouse. Yeah, never thought about it.
Excellent. So if anyone is interested in a little bit more detail, is it okay if they sort of reach out to you, send you a message, and I'm curious about long distance running, and follow along, I think, with your advices and read those books sounds like an excellent starting point, Mans.
Yes. Yeah, please just feel free. I'll read and answer as much as I can. No, I mean, there's also just if you, I can clearly recommend Rich Roll's podcast if anybody doesn't know about him. He has a lot of interesting characters on his podcast.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll put the link at the bottom of the video afterwards for Rich Roll, so that people can listen to it then as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to say thank you very much it's lovely just to have an easy conversation on a subject that's quite inspiring, because I remember coming back in Switzerland at the bottom of Hof, and I think my wife still wonders, who are you? And I said, he's 15 more K and off he's on his way home. And if we do turn up and we do these things, we actually inspire other people. And you definitely gave me a trickle of that, Mans, and glad to share that here with other people as well. So thank you very much for taking the time out to, discuss your journey on it. Because, not everybody meets somebody like you to actually say, oh, well, here's somebody who has decided to take that route, spend their time and energy and focus, or at least part of it in doing that. So thank you very, very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan, and it was great seeing you again.
Likewise. I look forward to seeing you in person again soon. Yeah. Take care, man. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.